get the show underway. Well, underway. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about CS Summit 7 that just concluded. I just linked it to Luca so he can bring up the overview page from HLTV.org. But long story short, it was an event where from top to bottom, we might as well start. We had VP actually picking up the trophy over fnatic debuting with Jackinho. We had Mouse Sports and Heroic coming in third, fourth. OG and Cloud9, two international teams with NIP and Furia making and rounding out fifth to eighth. MIBR, Dignitas, FaZe, and Complexity. They came in the last four slots. Complexity and FaZe last, respectively. Both playing with stand-ins, both not their actual teams, both probably very disappointed. So let's start with this one. Flusher, did you have a chance to catch any of Fnatic's games during this event?
I think I looked at all of them.
Okay,
so except for the last map in the finals because
it was late, wasn't it?
I slept.
Some of those games, dude, I get to that point at night, I'm like, fuck it, I gotta go to bed. But in terms of what you saw from Fnatic with Jackinho, obviously you know how that team works more intimately than anybody at the moment. What did you make of their debut? Obviously the result itself is good, but was the Counter-Strike good?
To me, it didn't look too good.
Okay.
They basically the group stage. I think they went 2-0, but both those games it didn't look good. They could have lost either match. And then I think versus Cloud9 as well, it didn't really look good. But then after they won the second map, I think they picked up from there and they started playing much better in the last match against map against Cloud9 and then against Heroic as well. So they started out pretty bad, I think, and then they ended the tournament decently.
One of the things that we had speculated before on the show was that Jackinho might AWP a little bit. Now, Striker pointed out to us in our little chat. Was it today, Striker? Was it yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, you pointed
because he got
out
like
with
a
his
third
AWP
kill.
stats.
Yeah, because he had like one kill with an AWP, and I saw him on B, and well, he had it from like the start of the round. But then I checked if he actually used this as a secondary that I didn't notice before, and he literally had 2 more kills in the event beforehand. So he had like 3 across the entire event. So essentially, basically, when he was saving, or maybe when he had a spawn or something, he picked it up once or twice, and that's pretty much the extent to which he used the AWP. So not really a secondary AWP to any degree.
Yeah, does that surprise you, Flusher? Were you expecting him to do some secondary AWPing based off of him as a player, or did you think it was most likely going to go in this way?
I mean, since he was an AWPer before joining Fnatic, I don't know what the plan is there, but of course, I would want to see him pick up the AWP more. Like even if he's transitioning into I don't know if it's my role or just a rifler, he could have still picked it up and they could have done some more stuff with double up. But I only saw JW play it throughout the entire tournament, so I don't know.
This might be an interesting direction just to take this while we're on the topic of Fnatic and we've got you here. In terms of the way that JW plays as an AWPer, right? Like he's not a traditional AWPer. I think we would all be fooling ourselves if we tried to say that. He's quite aggressive. He takes these audacious peaks. He's not afraid of re-peaking. He's not afraid of getting really up close and personal with it. And it felt like throughout the tenure with you on the team and the other boys there that you guys had full faith in him taking a lot of these risks, right? Is that the type of player that you want to have as your primary AWPer, or do you feel that like a player like that, it would have been nice to have more of what Furia were doing with their setup? You know, Art, he's the crazy motherfucker. You know, he's got ants in his pants running everywhere with the AWP getting entries. And then you had another guy, in Furia's case, it was Henny, who was sitting back with the AWP. I know in certain occasions he'd go for picks, but he was like the last line of defense with the AWP. Do you think that's something that like, was that ever a thought with you while you're on Fnatic? Like, yeah, it's great that we have JW going for this stuff, but it also is a liability because we don't have anyone else picking up that role or anything like that.
I mean, you can't really control JW, so
okay,
we kind of just had to play around it. We knew like more times than not he would get us entry, get us into a good situation, and then we just have to play around it. So yeah, I don't know what else to say really.
Was that ever a point of like frustration, or was it like it paid off more often than not, so that's why you guys were just happy to keep doing it?
Yeah, I think it's better to just let him do that, and then if he has a bad game, then he's gonna stop doing it by himself.
Okay.
And of course, everyone has a bad game every now and then, and he always had the confidence to keep doing it. Maybe a bit too much, like trying a bit too long, but yeah, I think we played around it really well, and he realized when enough is enough.
All right. And when you were watching these games of Fnatic, was there anything that you were noticing that were pitfalls when you're in the team? Like, is it similar, like calling patterns or similar problems with, say, some of their holes? Like, was there anything that you felt, oh, that's still an issue, even though I'm not there? Or like, what did you take from that angle?
I noticed that they I lost the word, but yeah, they did a lot of new stuff. Like Inferno, of course, they I've always been the banana guy, but now they played really heavy banana, like 2-3 people all the time, stuff like that. So I think they're transitioning someone into my role, and I don't know if that's gonna be Crims or Jackinho. It's kind of hard to say, but I think they kind of didn't have the guy that could do the things I did, like just doing it by himself and not really needing all the help that's most players want or need.
Sure. Okay. Prof, what were you going to say there? I cut you off.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, not ask, but kind of the way I see Fnatic potentially moving is the way that Fury operated last year, where they had Art being this, like, hybrid opera, aggressive rifler that I feel like JW could fill that spot.
Mm.
And then with the second opera, that would be more of the Henny type that you said, like a passive one, opping more often, but playing like a less impactful role, let's say, just like getting the easy kills, closing out rounds and stuff like that. I just feel like that could be a good direction for Fnatic to go forward. Maybe the question for Flusha is like, can JW play that role being more just being a hybrid? I feel like he did that in the past, and in some cases he did quite a good job. I think in 2019 when the team was kind of in a shit position, I think he still did quite well.
Yeah, I think he could. He's always been a really good rifler as well, but it's always been like on his mind that he has to have the op, like no matter what. That's in his mind. Like he has to be the op, or he has to have the op most times. And I would like to see Fnatic transition into like adapting the op more. Maybe Jackinho is more of a defensive opper and JW the aggressive one, and they could switch up depending on what team they're playing. And I think just releasing JW from the op more is it would help Fnatic more in the situation they are in right now. I don't think there's a guy that's is super aggressive. Brolan could be, but I don't think he has the experience to always be the really aggressive guy.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you some more stuff about Fnatic, but maybe we'll save that for the playtime section. We got some other teams to get through here.